So, how can you find growth opportunities in your core markets? All right. So, if you're responsible for growing from the core, how do you get there? Well, there's really a couple different ways. You can get more of the job done, or you can get the job done better. So, I'll describe both of those scenarios. In terms of getting more of the job done, let's go back to our job mapping techniques. This comes from an article we produced in HBR back in 2008, where it talks about all the steps in the job. And the goal of the job map is to break it down into its component parts and lay out what are people trying to do as they go from the beginning to the end of the job. Again, this is not a process map. It's not a customer journey map. We're not laying out what people are doing. This is not in solution space. It's in problem space. So we're laying out what are they trying to do, independent of the solutions that they're using. And what we can look at here are we can look for areas of the job that people struggle to get done. And you can go in one or two directions. So, some of the first questions we want to ask here, once we've created the job map, is do our products get the entire job done or only parts of the job done? What holes exist in the portfolio? Are people cobbling together solutions to get more of the job done and so on? And competitors, you can ask the same questions about their products. What non-traditional competitors exist? Maybe you're in the execute step and they're in the monitor step, but you're in the same market getting different parts of a job done. And you want to know this because those non-traditional competitors can disrupt you in a way that you won't see. We can also see from a process standpoint, are we forcing customers to execute the job in a suboptimal order? And we often see this where there's steps in the job missing. There may be a confirmation step that's not there that's causing a lot of issue once you execute the job. Then, of course, from a marketing standpoint, too, you can make some immediate considerations. If your product is getting the job done better than some competing solutions, you can advance your content, advance your marketing by touting the differentiation points in an effective way. The other part, the other way to do this is to help customers get a job done better. Instead of getting more of the job done, let's pick a step in the job, maybe the step we're already serving, and get it done even better, get it done perfectly. So to do that, you'd want to understand all the needs or the outcomes associated with the step in the job that you're currently serving. I wanted to show some examples of this, and I've done this in other presentations, but this gives you a general idea of all the detailed outcomes that might exist in a step of a job. So if we look at step number 2 here, the job is surgeons who are trying to remove an anatomical structure surgically. The step number 2 is to gain visual access to the structure. Again, it doesn't say how, it's just what they're trying to do. And then how do they measure success along the way? They want to get the job done faster, more predictably, higher output throughput. What are they trying to achieve? What are they trying to avoid? And these statements get at all these key issues. They want to minimize the time it takes to mobilize structures bound by adhesions that block access to the structure. Or number 9, minimize the likelihood of damaging structures when separating them from adhesions. And you can read through these. This gives you a sense of what outcomes are all about, and you can learn more about how to define and capture outcomes in some of the other work that we've done. It's all part of what we call the outcome-driven innovation process, where we are going to create more value for customers. And we start by defining a market as a group of people in the job to be done, right? Not around a technology or a product. And then we define needs as those measurable outcomes. And then we uncover the most underserved needs through quantitative research. And then we segment the market into smaller pieces, groups of people that have different unmet needs, even though they're all trying to get the same job done. Right? And from that, you can start building out your strategy to grow your core market. And that's really the formula to success in growing from the core. I added the slide in here too. I find this interesting. This is why I like thinking about core market growth. What you're trying to do is to get on the most efficient path to growth. In other words, you want to find the fewest number of outcomes that, if addressed, would have the greatest positive impact on the largest number of customers. So another way to say that is you want to find a need that's highly underserved across 100% of the population. That would be ideal. And we call those high leverage opportunities, right? Outcomes that are unmet across 100% of the population. We completed one study just this past week. There were 94 outcomes. There was only one high leverage opportunity. cut across 100% of the population, but it's still a great focal point for innovation and to differentiate because you can just do one thing that's going to have a positive impact on everybody that is in the marketplace. And then you can move down from there. Maybe there's other segments where that share a common unmet outcome. And then there might be other outcomes that are just unique to a market segment. But plotting this out in this order and figuring this out will help you get that most efficient path to growth so you can figure out how to grow the core before you start moving on to the adjacent markets and the new markets.